Hey, welcome back to 102.9 FM WLAS, LaSalle College Radio. You're now listening to the Big Three Radio Show as we kick off the 8 p.m. hour here on the station. I'm Nico Minganell alongside Sam Roberts and Zach Leweir. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Absolutely exhausted. But, we're here and it's a good day. What about you, Zach?
Fantastic. I'm happy to see that Nico turned the mics on this time.
Okay, I did it like one time, literally one time.
And you almost forgot right there.
I
watched.
To be fair, I can't always turn the mics on right away for you guys because I turn mine on with 5 seconds to prepare. And sometimes, Zach, you're literally still talking over here. So we'll pick up over the song and the ID.
Nothing wrong with that.
Actually, something's completely wrong with that, to be honest with you.
No, I'm just getting my vocal cords ready.
You don't want to listen to Zach ad-lib over the song?
Exactly.
I don't want to listen to Zach ad-lib, 1. 2, I'm worried what Zach might say.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Okay. All right. But we have really quick some laser headlines before we jump into it on today's show. And first up, if you need a way to relax and unwind from classes, you can go yoga next week and at 5 on Wednesday and every Wednesday. Zach, so far you've only attended one yoga class. What do you have to say about that?
Well, the Wednesday before it was canceled, and yesterday we didn't quite have our group. Palumbo was still sick. Alicio is passing a kidney stone, so tough one for the boys.
So you couldn't go yourself?
Oh, I'm not going by myself, no.
Wow. Not committed to the grind is what I'm
not
hearing
braving the conditions in there by myself.
The conditions? You're not making it very appealing to sound like going to yoga.
I wouldn't go alone, that's all I'm going to say.
Wow. So you just trashed on yoga right there. A little bit.
A tad bit, yeah.
Okay. So don't go alone, Zach says. WLAS Megan Moments will be interviewing the Deadbolts on their show this Friday at 2 p.m. So make sure you tune into that. Of course, the Intramural Floor Hockey League is going on every Tuesday, Thursday. If you want to join, just go to LaSalle Intramurals on Instagram. You can do it. Zach and I have a team, and not to brag today, but we did get a big 7-2 dub. No big deal. I had 2 goals and a couple of assists over here. Zach had a big time goal, and I think Zach, you probably a couple of assists as well. All the boys got points on the board, so we're feeling pretty good moving to 1-1. Zach, do you have any comments on the game here?
I think we moved the puck around well. I think we did a good job. We were definitely pretty sound on defense, honestly. Blocked a lot of good shots, good opportunities, and we'll look to move on.
I think it's fair to say that I'm going to lead this league in block shots. I had quite a few blocks today, so we were putting the body on the line there, unlike the Boston Bruins typically in their defense, and in particular Matt Grzelcyk because he sucks. But could I replace Matt Grzelcyk? Maybe. Hey, it's an idea. It's out there. I just threw it out there. What?
Can you skate?
Forwards.
I hate to be that guy, Nico.
So no backwards.
I hate to be that guy, but I if I was a GM, I would prefer someone who can skate backwards as well.
I can understand the critique there. I can understand the critique. I'll take it and run with that, Sam. I will.
Now it's still a very tough competition. It would be a hard decision for me to make, but that is a factor.
Fair enough. But that wraps up our laser headlines here. We're going to jump right into it on the show. If you missed it, we talked hockey all day yesterday, or I did. I was the only one in the studio, and I talked about basically every scenario that the Boston Bruins have to make trades. JT Miller was a big name. I threw out the fact that Claude Giroux wants to go to either St. Louis, Minnesota, or Colorado are his top 3 options.
Yeah.
He basically just wants to go live it up in the Central Division there. And the fact that the Bruins are wasting their possible last year Patrice Bergeron if they don't go out and make a move. So we talked about that all day yesterday. So we're going to move on to some basketball talk and talk about the Celtics. We've been talking about a little bit. So I want to get to the game they had the other night, last night, which was just an epic collapse from the Boston Celtics. 617-804-0151 is your text line, 617-243-2464. And Zach can attest to this. I saw this loss coming a mile away from the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
I woke up that morning and I looked at it, and the Detroit Pistons were on an 8-game losing streak.
Yep.
The Boston Celtics were on a 9-game winning streak. And I just had a gut feeling that I woke up and I said, Zach, today feels like the type of game that the Celtics lose.
Yeah.
But the Boston Celtics, who have no business losing this game to the Detroit Pistons, they go out there and they just have an absolute dud tonight. It was off a back-to-back for the Celtics, but this Pistons team sucks. They're tanking. They are one of the worst teams in the NBA, without a doubt. And I just had this feeling that, this is one of the losses the Celtics have. And, people are like, oh, well, they won 9 games before. No. This is a true sign of what this Celtics team still is. This is a reminder that this 9-game win streak they put together, some of it is a bit fraudulent. Some of it is. Some of those wins aren't all that impressive. And I just kind of want to go back over that win streak
Oh,
here.
yeah. The wins, like half of those wins weren't very good. I'm gonna be
Most of
honest.
them,
Most of
more
them
than
weren't.
half. I would say like probably 2/3 of them weren't good. So if I can pull up the schedule here with the LaSalle Wi-Fi.
Would you like me to do it? I can-
I just got like a loading thing right now, so
Okay.
if you don't mind doing it, that'd be great.
So the first one was at the Pelicans, who not a playoff team in the West. They're out of it.
You should win that game.
Yes, an injured Miami Heat team.
Should win that game.
The Hornets,
Should win that game.
Pistons,
Should win that game for sure.
Magic,
Should win that game as well.
injured Nets team.
Yeah, the Nets who had literally no one. Another game you should win.
Yeah. Home against the Nuggets.
That's a good one. That's a good win.
It was because the Nuggets have been a good team as well. The Hawks at home, but you're a better team than
You're
the Hawks.
100%. I would hope you're a better team than the Hawks.
At the 76ers, who they beat up pretty
That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one. That Sixers win was a good one.
It was. And then the loss to the Pistons. And even then, their next game coming up against the Nets, who possibly. Oh, actually, no. I think their next game isn't until the 24th. So by then, I think all those guys for the Nets will be playing by that time, like Ben Simmons, etc.
They played the Nets coming up. Oh, wait, there's All-Star weekend
Yes,
before.
there's
and then-
All-Star weekend coming up this weekend. So I think tonight is the last slate of games.
So it will be interesting to see how the Boston Celtics come out of All-Star weekend. I'm also trying to look at the schedule and Can you read the first couple games they have after All-Star weekend? It says I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, but I got
Nets,
no internet.
Pistons, Pacers are your next 3 games to round out the month of February.
I mean, those are games the Boston Celtics should win.
There's
Yeah.
a good chance they go
The Nets
3-0
game,
in
if
that
the
stretch,
Nets
yeah.
are healthy, I think the Celtics get demolished in that
Yeah.
game. But this Pistons lost. I mean, you can't lose a game like this. You simply cannot lose a game like this if you're the Boston Celtics. Like, this is poor. You lose to the Detroit Pistons at home? You're at home in
I
this
mean,
game.
even then, it's like you look at the stats in that game. They shot 55% in that game, and they lost.
And they lost at the buzzer, too. Didn't Jeremy Grant hit a game winner at the end?
He hit a game winner with about 8-9 seconds left.
8-9 seconds. So late basket did them in. And, I mean, like you said, the Celtics shot well in this game. They put up 111 points. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you who shot what. Grant Williams had 17 points. He shot 6 for 11. You'll take that any day out, Grant Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Tatum has 22 points. He's 7 for 15. That's a good night.
That's about an average night for
Al
him.
Horford, 8 for 10. Who
Yeah.
the hell is this guy? Al Horford, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks.
Yeah.
This dude played out of his mind.
Yeah.
Derek White kind of sucked 3 for 10.
He was the only, I mean,
1
he was
for
the
6.
worst one. Yeah.
And this was my concern when the Celtics got Derek White. He feels a lot like Marcus Smart. He
In
just
a way,
scores
yeah.
a little bit better than Smart does because he's better, inside the 3-point arc. But Derek White can't shoot threes. Dude's shooting 30% from 3.
yeah.
I don't think he's that good, to be honest with you.
No.
He's a nice little piece to have off your bench, but if you have to start him, you're in trouble. And if you're starting Marcus Smart, you're in trouble. So, to me, the Celtics still don't have a starting caliber point guard on their team, which is a problem going forward here. The fact that Aaron Naismith had played 22 minutes tonight, you suck. You suck. Your bench sucks now. If Aaron Naismith,
I mean, their
is
bench sucked to begin with. It just
Yeah.
dwindled even further.
Well, if Derek White's there, it's a little bit better. I guess the Smart's healthy, but even if it's Smart, it's gross. Like, this Celtics team doesn't have the depth to compete. They don't. This 9-game win streak was nice, but this Celtics team is about to lose 4 or 5
No.
straight.
They have no depth. I mean, this game kind of showed it. Like, I know that they have some guys out, but, like, your bench consisted of Peyton Pritchard, Naismith, and Tice.
And I don't think Pritchard got enough minutes. He only got 14
Yeah.
minutes. That doesn't feel like enough. And you look at it,
I mean, obviously,
Jaylen
like,
Brown
yeah,
went 12 for 21 with 31 points, and they lost.
I know. Al Horford shot 80%, gave you 20
Yeah.
points, and you lost. I
It-
mean, like, I understand, like, Robert Williams didn't play, Smart didn't play. Who else didn't play in this game last night? Or did I name off the two?
I think that
it was
was
just
it.
them,
That
yeah.
was it.
And
So,
that's
I mean, so I
the
mean,
guys you're missing.
so I mean, considering it, you're gonna move to your bench. You're probably gonna see coming off your bench. So your bench is gonna be what?
Derek White.
Naismith, Tice, Pritchard, White, and then probably Grant Williams comes off the bench.
Yeah, Grant Williams would be coming off the bench.
I mean, like what
In that case, Naismith shouldn't see minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, like even then, it's like
Your starting lineup's not good enough, and your bench isn't good enough.
no.
So, like we said, the Celtics, they did definitely get better, but nothing moved the needle. And for a team
No.
who's supposedly so great at defending, and, they have all these nerd stats that prove they're the best defensive team in the NBA. You have 112 points to the Pistons. The Pistons shot 46% from the field and 53% from three.
Yeah.
You may go teach these
Yeah.
guys how to close out on that three-point shot.
I think the worst part is they got out rebounded 47-30. They almost gave up 50 rebounds to the Pistons.
And Al Horford had 7 rebounds, which he never has.
Not at all.
So this Celtics team, they're too small still. They are. They're too small and they lack talent. They don't have a starter caliber point guard. They don't have that guy that makes other players better.
Yeah.
I would argue on this roster, the Celtics don't have one player that makes everybody else around them better. Jason Tatum doesn't elevate anyone's
Not
game.
even Jaylen Brown?
I don't think Jaylen Brown elevates anyone's game, to be honest with you.
It's a fair point.
It's just not what Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is a lot like DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion. Like, if he's your one of your centerpieces, like if he's your 2, you feel really good about the team you have. If he's your 1, you want to see him take a step up. Because in my opinion, Jaylen Brown's kind of like, I would say where DeMar DeRozan was in Toronto, like DeMar DeRozan peaked Toronto. That's where Jaylen Brown is right now, in my opinion. I honestly think you can make your argument that maybe Jaylen Brown has kind of passed that. And DeMar DeRozan has been really good this year, so I don't know if Jaylen Brown's at the level DeMar DeRozan is at right now. Because I would argue DeMar DeRozan's playing at MVP level in Chicago. So I don't think Jaylen Brown's at this Chicago level DeMar DeRozan, which I even think DeMar DeRozan was going to get to.
Yeah.
But Jaylen Brown has the potential, I think, to be like a Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard caliber player where he can be a number 1 on a championship team, on a championship contending team.
Mhm.
I think he has that kind of potential. And I think he could make players better in the future. Right now, I don't think he makes a ton of guys better. I think there are times where he elevates guys in certain aspects of the game, but I don't think he does it consistently over a 48-minute stretch.
Mhm.
Like some guy, like Chris Paul elevates guys for an entire game. Like he has that ability. Obviously, Chris Paul is also a pass-first guy. I think Giannis elevates his team like that. Jokic elevates, those top players. Kawhi Leonard elevates his team like that and makes guys around him better
Yeah.
because he draws so much attention. Jaylen Brown draws attention, and so does Tatum, but their games aren't. Mainly, Tatum's game isn't suited to making other players better. Jaylen Brown a little bit because he does like to drive and kick out.
Yes.
But he just doesn't do it often enough is what it is. So you can make an argument that Jaylen Brown elevates guys in their games to a certain level, but not the level you need it to be to actually be a championship contending roster. I was looking out at today and pointed out to Zach, Boston Celtics had the 7th best championship odds right now.
Really?
And I can't figure that out for the life
I don't
of me.
know how.
Aren't they still 7th in the East
They're
They're
right
6th
now?
in
They're
the East
sixth.
right
Sixth?
now. But even then, they're not better than Miami. They're not better than Chicago. All these teams in front of them.
Yeah.
And
I can tell you, right now, we talked about it. The 5 teams in front of them right now, they're all not better than.
Chicago, Miami, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Philly.
Not better than any of those teams.
No.
And Toronto's right there with the Celtics.
And even though, do I think Toronto has the talent that Boston has? No, but I think Toronto will give them a run for their money if they play.
They're better coached.
Yeah.
They are definitely better coached.
And honestly, if that Nets team gets healthy, it could make
If that
a run.
Nets team gets healthy, they're really good. They're actually the.
They're potentially the scariest team in the playoffs. If they're
I
healthy.
believe the Nets are actually the title favorites right now.
Yeah.
Now that KD's sent to come back after the All-Star break,
Mhm.
people are starting to buy back into the Nets. The odds
Yeah.
makers have them as the title favorites. Personally, I think the team coming out of the East is Milwaukee again. They're set up to do it again.
Yeah.
They didn't
It's-
really lose a lot of key pieces.
They just need to get healthy
That's what it is. It's
because they lost another guy yesterday. They lost another bench player, Pat Connaughton. So they are
that is
thin
a
right
loss
now.
for them.
They're thin. Brooke Lopez has been out the entire year. They just got Drew Holiday back. But I mean, that team right now is very thin, and to see them at 36-23 is kind of impressive. It's the same thing with Miami. Miami's had most of their team out most of the year. Victor Oladipo just got assigned to the G League, so they're hoping to get him back probably by start of March.
Injuries have
I forgot
So-
tormented
Oladipo
that
was with
man's
them.
career.
Yeah.
I forgot he was still like in the league.
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
And he's
It's
on the
been so
Heat,
wild.
too. I mean, you got to think
That's what I'm saying.
they got Butler, Lowry, Adebayo, Oladipo.
Like if Oladipo
Tyler
like
Hero.
if
Hero, Duncan
Oladipo is a
Robinson.
like third of what he used to be, that's a really good piece to have
Yeah.
for depth. Like they're a good team.
Well, I mean, like that's the thing. Like Tyler Hero right now is up for the Sixth Man of the Year award. He has like the best odds. Doesn't really surprise me that much either. I think it's him and Jordan Clarkson are vying for the spot. But that's another guy too who had a really good game yesterday. Was Jordan Clarkson, a guy who, when we talked about it on the show about a week and a half ago, that he was a mock trade target for the Celtics, trading Marcus Smart and a pick to Utah. I think throwing in Aaron Naismith in there as well for Jordan Clarkson. And
I would have taken him.
here they are with, I believe, now is Marcus Smart going to be out for a while with that ankle injury?
I haven't
Do you
heard
know?
much
Can
on it.
only hope.
There you go.
Well, for the sake of his health,
For the sake
we
of his
hope
health.
it's a speedy recovery. For the sake of the team, he can take time healing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never want to wish injury on him. But one thing that I was going through Bleacher Report the other day, as I always do, keeping up to date on my Boston sports, and I stumbled upon this that I found absolutely wild. For as streaky, nonetheless, as I can describe the Celtics team, someone wrote this that when Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Rob Will all play in the same game, the Celtics are 20-9 on this season when all four of those play in the same game. Granted, injuries have struck. I mean, you just saw Marcus Smart go down. Rob Will's been hurt. But I find that it's just remarkable that with those four guys out on the court in the same game, you have a 690 win percentage. Now, this team, regardless, is still not a team that's going to contend for a title right now, not in the near future, maybe 4 or 5 years down the road if you get the right assets down the line. But the fact that they're winning at that successful of a rate with just those four guys on the court, I mean, it shows you that there's potential. It's most certainly not hopeful and not reliable for the long term, especially considering your bench depth is, as we've all said, atrocious. I just find it absolutely wild that that's the statistic.
I would say give me the record if like anyone has it of what the games are when Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum both play, because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty damn similar to the record of Rob Smart and Brown
all
and
four?
Tatum all playing.
I wonder if someone has that.
Because I just feel that, and then Marcus Smart doesn't give you a lot. He really doesn't
No.
at the end of
No,
the day.
he does not.
What Marcus Smart nets you can make an argument, and that's a negative. Because for every defensive play this guy makes, this guy goes ahead and he will chuck up a stupid three, make a bad pass, have a poor turnover. The guy is just an overall net negative is what he is. Or he'll take a dumb foul, and I just don't think he's worth having on this basketball team. Especially if you have Derek White now. Derek White's a pretty solid defender. He shoots about the same as Marcus does. He's a little bit better inside the arc. He's more of a scorer. What's the difference between the two? Why need both? You know what I mean? So I don't think there is a need for Marcus Smart on this basketball team, but the Celtics obviously don't see it that way. They'll keep around this guy. As long as Marcus Smart is a Boston Celtic, this team won't sniff
Yo.
a championship.
I just looked it up. The Celtics have a record of 25-17 when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both play in the same game. 25-17 there, but 20-9 when all four are in the same game.
I mean, obviously 29 is a better record there, but I'm not
Yeah.
buying into it.
I
yeah,
mean,
I don't think it's that much of a factor. I think it's
Just
I
a
think it's
smaller sample
impressive.
size.
it
yeah.
is.
I think it's impressive, and I think it's also necessary. There's a lot of other factors: the team you're playing, where you're playing, things along that. Who's injured on the other team?
Yeah.
There's a lot of other factors. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous the fact that those are the numbers.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, even with those numbers popping up, still think they're a first round exit.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think they can win
they
possibly
just-
2 games in the first round.
I mean, we've been talking about this for so long now that I've been talking about this since we started this show, like 3 years ago. That the Celtics have the guys capable of winning it, but they need depth. They've never fixed that issue.
I'm
in
gonna
fact,
be
the
honest
depth
with
has
you.
just decreased.
I don't think the Boston Celtics have the guys capable of winning it. I said this before. I'm not convinced that this Brown-Tatum duo is exactly what works. I think they're missing a third star. But I don't think their third star can be a 3. I think they need a 1. Like, I think at this point, when you look at all the teams that win NBA championships lately and go NBA championships, they have a guy who's, top 5, top 10 player in the league. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum aren't there. They're not. Sorry, folks at home, all you green teamers. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum aren't top 10 NBA players.
No.
When everyone in the league is healthy, those guys aren't in that conversation.
No.
They aren't.
I put him top 20. But yeah, nowhere near the top 5.
But that's the thing. Being top 20 and top
It's
10
not gonna
is
get you there, yeah.
It's so different. Being top
Yeah.
5 and top 10 in the NBA is incredibly different. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about the top 5 guys. Healthy. This is healthy. It's Kawhi, LeBron, KD, Jokic. That's the first. Curry. That's the 5th. That's the
Yeah.
top 5 guys in the NBA right now.
Wait, what about
Well,
Giannis?
Giannis actually has to be in there too.
Yeah.
That's actually tough.
Okay, I feel
would
like
say
the top 6 are
the
solidified,
top
just
6.
not in a specific
Okay.
order.
All right. You know what? LeBron's getting old. This Lakers team sucks. I'm taking LeBron now and putting Giannis in. But
LeBron's
KD
fine
also
at
can't
6, yeah.
stay. KD also can't stay healthy enough, though. That's his problem. So, like, KD, we'll make KD the honorary, we'll make KD the 6 just because this man's got, 2 of the worst knees I ever seen on a professional athlete
Yeah.
in a long time.
I mean,
And that man
he's-
said he could play in the NFL. His knee would get shattered on a regular
Zero
basis.
chance. Zero
Yeah.
chance.
I mean, his knees are like hockey sticks, man.
They really are.
They
They're,
are.
they're just too skinny.
So, I think that's a, a big time change. And the teams that go to the finals typically have a top player like that on their team, or they have a combination of a couple, top 10 guys or top 15 guys. I mean, the Suns have Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. That's a really good big 3 there. That's better than what the Celtics have.
Hmm.
So, because Devin Booker, I think, is better than both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely top 20, if not top 10.
And Devin Booker's probably in the top 15, top 10.
Yeah.
He's probably hovering. I think Chris Paul's still up there.
Oh,
When
yeah.
Chris Paul's Chris Paul this season has been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, even if his stats don't show it, just his impact on the court is enough to put him up there. Because just when he's in there, he makes his team 10 times better.
And like I said, the way DeMar DeRozan is playing this year, he's in there. He's ahead of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum this year. I probably wouldn't have said that last year about DeMar DeRozan, but the way he's played this year, it's hard not to give it to him.
Yeah.
Not to mention the depth that team has in the supporting cast. I mean, they have Vucevic, they have Lonzo Ball. That's a really good, solid core they have there.
I mean, honestly, too, it's that was one of those teams where I know it's their first year together, but if they didn't have so many guys hurt at the deadline and they actually made some moves, that would be the team that I think could do it. Because they're that 8-9 guys deep right now. They just needed those 1 or 2 extra bench players to put them at that top level needed to go. Because it's kind of like we said, it's getting to the point now where either you have to put either 2 or 3 really good players on a team to win, or you need that 1 star player and a bunch of good role players around them. Obviously, when the Raptors won it, certain guys stepped up, took into their roles, but there was no one on that team besides Kawhi who was a solid number 2. Siakam.
Kyle Lowry was really good.
But Kyle Lowry was more of a facilitator.
He's an all-star player. You need a superstar and then 2 all-star caliber players.
Yeah. And so you could put Lowry in there, but I would say that Siakam and Van Fleet hadn't taken that jump just yet. They were getting there. They were solid.
Lowry
role
was in
players.
that jump. Lowry was in that jump.
No, I said Lowry was.
Oh, okay.
I was saying Van Fleet and Siakam.
Yeah, but that's really
just
good
there
depth.
yet.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
One of those can easily be a 3, and then
Yeah.
you have another. That's a good all-around depth piece.
And even with the Bucks too, and it was having Giannis. You have Chris Middleton, who I don't think he got an All-Star appearance last year, but he definitely was All-Star caliber. Drew Holiday is someone that can have that kind of season as well. And you have just those 3 kind of guys where it's you have your 1 superstar and then guys who are of All-Star caliber talent to get that, to bring that load up.
I'll be honest with you. I think it's silly to think that whoever's coming out of the East is the favorites, because the 2 favorites this year, it's the Western Conference Final that's going to be between the Suns and Warriors. That's going to be for the championship.
Yeah.
Those are by far the 2 best teams in the NBA. And let me tell you, if you've been watching Klay Thompson lately, he is getting into a rhythm right now. He has been much better the past couple games, and you can tell he's starting to feel it. The one thing that I think is lacking with Klay Thompson right now is his defense isn't where it was before his injury. But I guarantee you, by the time playoffs rolls around, he's going to be pretty damn close to almost being the same player he was
Yeah.
before. So
And I think like the scary part is too, just as like like when you look at the NBA standings, is it just the West I feel like is so much more competitive come playoff time than what the East normally is. Because it's like, I'll be honest, I go to look at it. If we pull them up, the Bulls are going to play depending on what the situation is. But I mean, I think the games might be close, but if we're going to be realistic, probably you're going to have the Celtics at 7. I'd probably say the Nets probably move up to 6, and the Raptors probably drop there. You're going to have Raptors, Bulls first round. Bulls probably win that pretty easy. I would say Heat, Celtics. Heat are probably going to win that in 5 or 6. The Bucks and Nets will be a fantastic series because the Nets are not a 6 seed. But if you drop it down to the West, there's a good chance that you're going to see the Suns playing possibly either a healthy Lakers team or a healthy Clippers team. But anyone playing LeBron James is not going to have an easy time. Even if the team is bad, they aren't going to have a good time.
the Suns will be fine, just like they were last year.
I think they will.
They'll be
I
fine.
think, but I think
They'll
it's
cruise.
I think it's to be very competitive.
No, this Lakers team's terrible. This Lakers team, when healthy, is poor. They're a poorly constructed team, and they lost too many pieces. Losing Drummond was a big piece for them, like we talked about on the show.
Yeah.
A couple days ago. Losing Drummond actually really hurt this team. And that's a piece that they could really use right now that they don't have. I think LeBron's done. He's mentally checked out. You see this guy? Lakers right now have a 27-31 record, and LeBron's talking after the Rams win the Super Bowl. Oh, we should do a joint parade together because we
Oh,
never
yeah,
got
that
our
was
parade, this and
wild.
that. And he's partying at the parade like the day before he's got a game. Like, this Lakers team, done.
Yeah.
Folded.
and
It
even
wouldn't shock me at the Portland Trailblazers, Zach. If you're Portland Trailblazers who are trying to tank, but have no
And are-
idea how to do it,
and are currently one of the
somehow
hottest
pull
teams in
a
the West.
wild upset on the Lakers in that playing game.
Because it's scary right now because they're starting to win games. They're getting some guys back. Lillard's going to be back in
If
about
Dame
3
plays
weeks.
in that, if Dame is healthy,
he
and he
will
plays
be.
in that
Yeah.
game, that dude's going to be on a mission. That dude is going to be on a mission. If that team is rolling and Dame comes back and they keep clicking,
Yeah.
they're going to give the Lakers a tough game in that first playing game.
They will.
And remember, if you win the first playing game and you're in the 9-10, you have to still play the 7-8. Again.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's if you lose, right? No.
No, the
No,
9
the 9-10 winner has to play the loser of the 7-8.
yes, for the 8 seed.
So there's a chance that before the Lakers and LeBron get into the playoffs, they have to play 2 games. They have to win 2 games before that. They're going to get demolished by the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. And I mean that's the thing too, and it's like if the Lakers don't get in, you got to pull the Clippers. If that Clippers team is healthy, they're going to give the Suns a good series as well. I think the Suns are going to win it, obviously, but it's going to be a competitive 6 games if Paul George and
5.
Kawhi are, if they're healthy.
Oh wait, are you talking about the Clippers?
Because right now the
I thought you were
Clippers,
talking about the Lakers.
no, because
Oh,
right
if
now
the Clippers play,
because
that's
the Clippers
a series.
because the Clippers are the 8 seed currently. The Lakers are the 9, Blazers are the 10. So I think if the Clippers are healthy, it's going to be a close one.
Well, in my opinion, the Clippers are going to beat Minnesota and end up as the 7th.
Okay.
And let me tell you, that is going to be a tough first-round matchup for the Golden State Warriors if Kawhi and Paul George are
Yeah.
both healthy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, too, it's like Minnesota's a good team. I think they're a year or 2 away because they have the talent there. They really do. Is it D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns are all healthy. You have Patrick Beverly in there guarding whoever's on the court. They're a tough team to play.
All I'm going to say is Karl Anthony Towns more and more every day is looking like a guy you can actually build a championship team around.
Yeah.
It's almost like a certain radio host on this show mentioned that and said that he would trade Jason Tatum for Karl Anthony Towns. Would anyone object to Karl Anthony Towns being better than Jason Tatum at this point? Please, if you have any objections, 617, no, I don't even want you texting, 617-243-2464. Call in. Explain to me how Karl Anthony Towns is not better than Jason Tatum. Because I believe there are a lot of Green Teamers out there and Celtics fans that would not agree with that take. But I don't see how you can argue that Karl Anthony Towns isn't better than Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
And I think his impact is being shown. Because I'll be honest with you, I think if you swap Karl Anthony Towns and Jason Tatum right now, there'd be a lot of teams I would take the Celtics over in the playoffs. I mean, if we went back up If Karl Anthony Towns was on this Celtics team, I'd take him over Philly.
Would you consider him a contender at that point, though? Still no, though, probably.
I consider them like Eastern Conference finalist contender. You know what I mean? Like not like
So like a
championship
fringe
contender,
team, kinda?
but like a team that can make a run. I would take him over Philly. I would take him over Cleveland.
Yeah,
Two
That's
teams
fair.
I wouldn't take him over
That's
now.
fair.
because Cleveland's not there just yet. They're a year or two away from being that top 10 contending team because they have the pieces. They just need to get healthy. But I would say for sure that's definitely one. And I think too, if the Timberwolves do get that 7 seed and play the Warriors, it's not going to be easy for the Warriors because they have no center. Karl Anthony Towns is going to score 30 points a game in that series. Even if you put James Wiseman in there, that kid's going to get eaten alive. He hasn't played all year. He's been out. Even if he comes back, you got a young James Wiseman playing against Karl Anthony Towns. He's going to kill that kid. And I'll be honest, it's going to be tough too because you're going to have to cover, not only will Curry and Thompson have to perform, they got to cover D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. And Klay Thompson is a lengthy defender, but he can't keep up with Anthony Edwards. That guy's too quick for him.
Not right now. No.
No,
Maybe
not right
Klay
now.
Thompson
Earlier in his
pre-injury,
career,
yes.
I would say. But even then, and Curry's going to have his hands full as well. You're going to have Malik Beasley for them, who's a secondary scorer. Pat Bev's going to probably be guarding Curry. So, I mean, that's not going to be an easy series whatsoever
It's not
for
going
them.
to be an easy series, but you know, the thing with the Warriors is like any night these guys can drop 130 points if they really
and they'll
want
find
to.
a way to win.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like it won't be like on the defensive end.
No.
So
I think they'll do it in
they'll
6
get by,
if they-
but it will definitely be like Minnesota will give them a bit of a scare if
Yes.
that is the matchup
Yeah.
for sure. And we're going to move on and talk some Champions League soccer here, as there were a couple good games and a couple not so good games this past Tuesday and Wednesday for Champions League. So on Tuesday, we had PSG versus Real Madrid, which I think has been the game of the round of 16, the first leg of tie so
for
far.
sure.
Definitely the most entertaining game. PSG ended up winning in the 90th minute +3, like in added time.
Yeah.
And it was basically the last kick of the game. Mbappe
Yeah, it was +4.
scored.
So it was 94th
+4,
minute.
94th minute. Mbappe scored a goal to put them up 1-0 in Paris over Real Madrid. So they'll go to Madrid with the lead on Arrogate in the two-legged tie. Man City went on to destroy Sporting Club Portugal. Zach's Portuguese men could not do anything about it.
My
5-0.
brethren, yeah. I mean, not my team, but my brethren were not able to uphold themselves against the powerhouse that is Manchester City. Because let me tell you, in the beginning they had some chances, and then Man City put 2 quick goals away and they gave up. And we talked about it in the room that, you know, you go into this next leg in 2 weeks and you're down 5-0. How do you even go into that game? Like, how?
You don't.
Like, because
don't.
you know, Man City's gonna play all like their youth academy kids. They're gonna
Mhm.
play all like their reserves and
And
all
they'll
their
probably still
subs and-
drop 2 or 3 on them.
Probably, yeah. Because I mean, like, because there's no way, even if they play their subs and their reserves, even maybe some youth kids, there's no way they squander a 5-goal lead.
Nope.
No way.
So Sporting is pretty much knocked out right now. Liverpool ended up defeating Inter 2-0 in Milan as the inferior Milan club and, sham of the, Italian league. Unfortunately, they disgraced in all of Serie A and the entire country of Italy there. After, of course, the better Milan team beat them in the derby. Now they go and they lose 2-0 to Liverpool at home. I would say Liverpool are all but through at this point. I can't see Inter coming in when putting 3 goals on Liverpool at Anfield. But I think the biggest surprise
Yeah.
was
Was the upset
was
that
the-
almost was.
the 1-1 tie between RB Salzburg and Bayern. Bayern Munich, I think, should be the team that destroys everyone in this competition. In my opinion, they are the best team in the world right now.
Yeah.
They are. And I was kind of shocked to see them really get off to a slow start. They were down 1-0 for most of the game. They ended up tying it very late to salvage a draw. So they're in a position where they can still go through, but it's certainly not where I think most people expected them at this point.
No. I mean, the shots, were 22-11. Shots on goal were 9-6. The possession rate really favored Bayern. I think towards the end, as Bayern kept most possession, the possession was about 71-29. But even then, Red Bull gave them a tough game. And I will admit, tough to see Red Bull not get a win in this game, being that the next leg is at Bayern. So, but I'll tell you, the team from the Austrian League, Red Bull Salzburg, that's a team that's going to give them another tough fight. in that next game. So nothing guaranteed here from Bayern. I don't think Bayern saw this one coming as well.
And next week, of course, we have Chelsea versus LOSC, who's some bum team
Lily Lily Lalai from the French league.
from the French, some Farmers League team. They
They
go kill them.
they won the French league last year.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Zach, I don't care. The French league's a joke. Okay, PSG is the only legitimate team in that league.
Yeah.
Chelsea's going to win. Chelsea's going to do to them what Man City did to Sporting. Juve and I'm going to butcher it, so why don't you just say it?
Villarreal.
Villarreal. Juve should win that, tie Juventus. Atletico, Man United, probably going to be a really good tie. I actually would take Atletico over Man United.
I would take Atletico too.
I think they just have a much better defense. And Man United just has so much going on.
Yeah,
And
they have been in terrible form.
since Ronaldo joined, things have really gone downhill for them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been all too great. So I don't think you can really trust them going forward here in this competition. Then Benfica and Ajax. I would say Ajax is probably going to come
Ajax
through with
should.
the win there
Yeah,
in that tie. But I would say right now, Champions League favorite is still Bayern, very much so. Man City, I think, is going to make a real push this year.
yeah. Man City, I think Man City's my pick to win it. I think that they're gonna take it. I think that they're gonna take it. They lost it last year to Chelsea, a tough one for them. So I think this is the revenge tour, as they like to call it. And I think this is their time.
And I can see that. I think depending how the draw goes from
Yeah.
here on out, that Man City and Bayern probably should be the last two teams standing. I would say PSG's that team right on the cuffs. Of course,
Yeah.
they have Messi, so you never know what's
I
going to
mean,
happen
they have
with
so
them.
much talent on
They
that
have a
team.
ton of talent,
Yeah.
but having Messi is like he's like that. That magic moment's always there. Like they're never out. You know what I mean? Like when the game's 0-0, you feel like at any minute, him, Mbappe, Neymar, any of those guys up top can just sort of take over and change the whole outcome of a game within seconds.
Yeah.
Not too many teams have that.
No, not at all.
So, and of course, with Verratti in the midfield, they're a team that has the depth from top to bottom. Donnarumma is, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world right now. And I think you can make a very fair argument for it.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
there's not too many guys right now that have his size and his skill.
And his accolades already
Yeah.
at such a young age. So he's certainly in the middle of a special career. And I think they're going to be a team that goes really far in this tournament. But Chelsea, Liverpool, teams that, will get a lot of talk and hype, I don't think they're it this year. In my opinion, Chelsea has been sort of lackluster and a bit disappointing this season. They just don't feel like they have it all together. I'm sure many Americans are familiar with Chelsea just because they have Christian Pulisic, but he's not getting a ton of time this year at Chelsea. He's kind of been in and out of the lineup here and there. He's getting like decent minutes, don't get me wrong, but his production hasn't been
No.
over the top or anything that's eye-popping this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're the current number 3 in the Premier League, but there's really nothing there that I really see kind of, pushing them up. I mean, even though it's kind of surprising too, honestly, but I mean, even with their recent play, somehow, some way, Man United is still the number 4 seed in the Premier League. I'm shocked by that, but they are currently the 4, and West Ham, another team right there, is the 5. But seeing Man United, I don't think that team can do much. That team
No, I
is
don't
on
think
such
so
a
either.
bend right now.
I think honestly the 3 teams competing for this is what I said: Man City, PSG, and Bayern. Maybe Liverpool gives some competition.
I think Liverpool's always a tough out. That team's gonna be tough to beat. Do I think they win
They
it?
don't have
No.
enough to win it. They don't.
No, not this year.
So I don't think Mo Salah and Sané is enough to,
No.
really carry this team forward. I think their midfield compared to some of the other teams is a bit
Oh,
lackluster,
yeah.
and that's their weak spot on their team for sure. But Champions League outlook, I would say, if you're looking at who the favorite is that's going to win, I would say it's between Man City and Bayern for me. I really just have a tough time ruling out Bayern just because of the talent they have. I think Man City faces better competition week in, week out, which does help them a little bit more. I feel like they're a little more battle tested than Bayern is at this point in the season. But, Salzburg giving Bayern a battle here in the round of 16 could end up going a long way if Bayern do make it out of this tie, which I believe they will. But that kind of, was our quick Champions League, minute there segment just to keep you going on your European soccer, since honestly there isn't too much going on right now. We have the NBA All-Star break, of course, coming up this weekend. So the NBA will be taking a bit of a pause and break. The NHL, the storylines, we talked about them yesterday with the deadline. The players of the Bruins could be after. JT Miller, I would say, is still the big name to watch on the market. And, the price is set with the Tyler Toffoli trade. You need a first-round pick, an additional pick that's in either the 4th or 5th round, and then you need a top prospect, and then you need a basically bomb 6'4" that's a solid contributor. And the Bruins package for that for JT Miller, in my opinion, would be a first rounder this year coming up, an additional pick at some point that's a 4th or 5th, and then you're looking at Jake DeBrusk and Jack Stanika, which I think the Bruins should 100% pull the trigger
That's
on.
not a bad deal at all. I mean, from my perspective, you don't know how much Patrice Bergeron has left in the tank. And with his career dwindling, why not go all in now?
So
There's no better time to do it.
So that was the point I made for about 20 minutes yesterday, was that like this is it. This is
it.
the I said
might
this
be
last
your
year
last
that like it was
chance, yeah.
coming up. No, but this is 100% your last chance with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand. Together, that is, because I think Bergeron is either retiring at the end of this year or he's not coming back to Boston, because what incentive is there to come back to Boston? The only way Patrice Bergeron comes back for one more year is if this Bruins team goes out, they make a bunch of moves, and that means go getting someone like JT Miller, be a second-line center, and they acquiring someone like Mark Giordano to go be a top defenseman on this team, or acquiring like really any defenseman to kind of help and bolster your defense, and that you go like either to the Eastern Conference Finals, you make it all the way to the Stanley Cup, and you get your heart ripped out in like, just gut-wrenching fashion. Then Patrice Bergeron comes back. I think it gives it one more run. But unless this Bruins team can prove they can build a contender, a legitimate contender, I can't see him coming back to Boston.
I just don't think he's the guy who's going to leave Boston, but I do see where you're coming from on that.
Well, it's not necessarily leave Boston. It may be just hang him up at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting older. He has a family. I'm sure that it's on his mind for sure. There hasn't been any talks about contract extensions from all reports, which, in my opinion, tells me Patrice Bergeron is waiting to see if it's worth coming back next year. That's how I read into that, if we're reading the tea leaves here. But that's going to do it for the Big Three Radio Show for this week. Make sure you tune in next week, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m., and every Monday through Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. here on WLAS for the Big Three Radio Show. Have a great weekend and stay safe, everyone.
WLAS LP Newton.